All right, the Knoll Grüner Veltliner Kreutles Vineyard Smaragd from Austria in as short a time as possible. This is, in a nutshell, a white wine that is dry. It is still refreshing, and it's made with a really cool process that gives it a level of intensity that most Grüner Veltliners don't have. Now, if you know how fermentation works, it is yeast eating sugar and then creating carbon dioxide and a little bit of alcohol and some other cool stuff. Another way of saying that is yeast eat, burp, fart, and die. A lot of those are more relevant to champagne or to other types of aging with wine. Whenever we talk about this wine in particular, we are looking at yeast, eating sugar, creating alcohol, and doing some other cool stuff. Now, Smaragd is the name of a lizard in a vineyard. It's the name of the emerald lizard that you can see hanging out on the rocks out there in Austria, in the Kreutles Vineyard, and in other vineyards that you'll see. And that is a legal term. Smaragd means that this wine is going to be dry, and this wine is going to be late harvest. Now, normally, if you're looking at a late harvest white wine, you're thinking of sweet. And that makes sense. The longer something stays on the vine, it gets sweeter because there's more sugar. But whenever you're making wine, it is yeast eating sugar and turning that into alcohol. This wine is harvested late, but it is fermented all the way through to dryness. The yeast are eating the majority of the sugar. And so what you end up with is something really cool. Maybe you would expect a wine that is hanging on the vines for a long time, or a grape that's hanging on the vines for a long time, to have not a ton of acidity. Just like whenever you have an apple that's, picked in a really warm area, or you have an orange that's from Florida as opposed to someplace cooler, that orange has more sweetness and less sharpness and tartness. Well, that's where the magic of really good winemaking, of region, and also of the Grüner Veltliner grape comes in. This is a wine that has intensity, it has concentration, it has weight, it has a good amount of alcohol, but it's also fresh. And the last piece of that is that Grüner Veltliner is a very savory grape, which sounds weird, but it's actually just delicious and food-friendly. You can get white pepper, you can get green notes, in addition to stone fruit and citrus and lots of other things. Finally, on a more technical note, these wines can get botrytis. This is something that grows on the grapes in certain vineyards. It can be very bad in some situations, but in the perfect vineyard, with the right winemaker, with the right set of circumstances, you end up with, in a nutshell, ginger, saffron, honey flavors, but in a way that presents dry. It's cool, it's delicious, and it's incredible with food. So, again, this is a dry, white wine from Austria made with a Grüner Veltliner grape, and it uses a really cool winemaking process and grape growing process that ends up with something both intense and almost full-bodied, but dry and refreshing at the same time. It's delicious.